Hello, I'm Elvin Wilson, and I work at the original Pancake House. I've been sharing all my secrets. Everything I've learned in the past 35 years working at the original Pancake House in South Carolina. And yeah, I can remember when I was younger, I was in my 20s. That's the last thing I would ever want to do, is share everything that I learned over the years. You know, I would hoard my secrets and not share them with anyone. I'd be on the line, and I would train, but I wouldn't share every little secret. Some cooks that I trained, they would watch me carefully, pay attention, but that let me know that they were interested. So the ones that were interested picked up on it. They picked up on it. They watched a lot of the things I was doing, and over time, they picked up on it. And some were really, really good. Some of the cooks that we trained at the original Pancake House, yeah, they were really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. I've got a lot of video of cooks and their work. Past cooks that have worked at the original Pancake House decades ago. And I saved all the videos. And one day, I'll be able to show all those videos to people who watch my videos. I'll be able to show all of that footage. And it looks really, really good. It's good stuff. Big, huge apple pancakes. Nice Dutch babies. Yeah, I'll be able to share it all. But today's video, I'm going to share another secret. It's a mild secret, but it works. I always follow my recipes. I always follow the recipes at the original Pancake House. I never go outside of any of the recipes that I've learned or I've been given. I've always followed the recipe because, I know it works. And if any changes were ever made, it wasn't made by me. It was made by the franchise owners. And then they would pass their ideas on to us. There's a lot of things that I'm still learning to this day. I just recently came into a huge tip that made my life easier. Yeah. So we got a tip from Portland recently, and it made my life easier, and I'll share that in a future video. But I'm always learning. I'm constantly learning, even after 35 years of working for the company. I'm always looking to improve and be better. And I'm never cocky to the point where I don't have an open ear to receive information. I don't have an open ear to want to improve and be better. Yeah. You got a lot of people, they get so cocky at what they do, then they feel like no one can tell them anything. Yeah. And I was always told that the person who thinks he knows everything never learns anything, something of that nature. Yeah. It's like, how can I say it? You never learn anything if you think you know everything. So, with that being said, I want to talk about syrup, maple syrup. We might be able to cover a couple of different syrups that we make at the original Pancake House, but I specifically want to talk about the maple syrup because the maple syrup is our most popular syrup. I'll ask a lot of people on a lot of servers that work at the original Pancake House and employees, I'm like, what's our most popular syrup? And they'll be like, ooh, strawberry. And it kind of makes sense, but strawberry is like in second place. Strawberry is very popular. It's a very popular syrup. It's a great syrup, and we're going to talk about that today. But the maple syrup is the most popular syrup. And when a lot of people hear it, they're like, oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't count. But yeah, it counts. It counts. And before I share my secret about the maple syrup, I won't be sharing any recipes. But I do follow the recipe at the original Pancake House when making all my syrups. But over time, while I'm making the syrups, I saw things that I could do to improve, even following the recipe. Because the recipe is not going to give you any hints or any strategies. It's just going to give you the recipe, and you follow it, and it works. But over time, when you keep practicing something, doing it over and over and over again, you start to improve. And I'm going to share some things that I've come into. Being a prep cook for 25 years. 23 years. 23 years, going on 25. But I've been, it's hard to believe that I've been prepping at the original Pancake House for well over 20 years. And that's something. Before I talk about the maple syrup and share my secret with the maple syrup and the strawberry syrup, we have a new syrup now at the original Pancake House, and I want to share that. And it's 100% pure maple syrup. And this is the first time in the company's history. This is the first time at the original Pancake House in South Carolina that we're able to offer pure maple syrup to our customers. And how we do that is the customer comes in, and we do have a handful of customers that will ask, is your maple syrup pure maple syrup? And it's obvious why they ask that question, because it's the original Pancake House. So that's probably one of the first things customers think. Well, if it says original Pancake House, chances are they might have pure maple syrup. And I'm sure they're somewhat disappointed when they find out that our maple syrup is made in-house and it's not pure maple syrup. And we all know what pure maple syrup is, so I don't need to go into details or explain that. But yes, we do offer at the original Pancake House, full price, pure, 100% pure maple syrup. And here it is. It's kosher. It's kosher, sustainable, gluten-free, and vegan. Okay? Grade A dark, robust taste, all natural, 100% pure maple syrup. And for $2.95, you come in and you want pure maple syrup on your pancakes, you can purchase this and have pure maple syrup for your pancakes at the original Pancake House. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I'm happy that we offer that now, because a lot of people will come in and ask for it. And now we're able to give them that option if they really want it. And I've tasted it, and it tastes great. It tastes great. It's original. It's maple syrup. It's pure maple syrup. So it definitely has an acquired taste. But our maple syrup at the original Pancake House, we have a recipe, and I've been following that recipe for over 20 years. But over time, making the maple syrup on a daily basis, I've come into some secrets that I want to share today. One of the secrets is the maple syrup, and it tells you that it needs to be refrigerated after it's made. I've known 3 original Pancake Houses that I've actually visited. One I work at, and the other 2 locations were in Charlotte. And I've never seen the maple syrup being held under refrigeration after it's made. And that's a huge mistake, in my opinion. Because one, after studying the recipe, it wants you to refrigerate the syrup. And that syrup must age under refrigeration overnight before use the next day. And being a prep cook at the original Pancake House for over 20 years, that was a mistake for me. Only because the original prep cook, his name was William, and lots of other prep cooks that worked before me was never refrigerating the maple syrup. And they would make the maple syrup, put it in containers, cover it up, and it would stay at room temperature. You know, I'm guessing that management passed along, passed along a message to whoever were prepping before and just say, yeah, just leave it. And we have a little designated place for our maple syrup at the original Pancake House. And that's where they've been putting it for years. And they were never asked to refrigerate it. I was never asked to refrigerate the syrup. So one day I studied the recipe, and I came into that knowledge. And I was like, So then I go to management and I'm like, I think we should be refrigerating the syrup once it's made. I was like, nah. You don't have to bother with that. And I was like, well, I like to experiment with it. Yeah. By all means, experiment with it. You want to play around with it. If it says it needs to be refrigerated, or it needs to be under refrigeration overnight before use the next day, then you want to mess around with it, by all means, go for it. And that's what I did. So now, at the original Pancake House in South Carolina, and this has been going on now for, I want to say, I've been doing it now for about a decade. I'll make the maple syrup, and I've found a designated area in the cooler, up above everything in the produce cooler. I'll keep it at the very top shelf, and it will age. I'll let it age there overnight. And then the next morning, I'll bring it back out and store it where it used to be, where we normally store it at room temp. And in the beginning, I'm like, I think this is going to be a better product. Until I came into the hidden secret I'm about to share, which made it even better. And this is not shared in the recipe book. But while the maple syrup is aging under refrigeration, the first time I did it, I put it in the refrigerator with the tops on it. And what happens is that syrup is hot. There's a lot of condensation and water that evaporates to the base of the top. And when I used to go in the cooler the next morning to get the syrup out, I noticed a lot of water droplets up under the top of the maple syrup. And as soon as I removed the top, all that water went down into the syrup. And what do you think happened? And although when I first started putting it in refrigeration, the syrup seemed like it was thicker, which is a lot better. And before that, we would get some complaints from time to time, depending on who made the syrup on my day off, or even when I made it sometimes. They'd be like, the syrup it's loose. Did you do something wrong? And I'm like, no, I followed the recipe. Well, they was like, well, it's loose. And this would be coming from a server, and then the manager would be like, it's fine. But anytime I get a complaint, whether it be from the customers that come in to eat, the servers, or anyone else in that restaurant, that always, that doesn't settle with me too well. So I'm going back and looking at things, and I came up with the secret that's not shared in the recipe book. And I've visited the 2 stores in Charlotte, and nobody was doing this. So after I make the maple syrup now, when I do store it under refrigeration overnight, I store it at the top above all the produce where nothing can find its way into the syrup, and I don't put tops on it. I don't put tops on it until the following morning, after it's cooled down completely. Before that, I'd come in, and a guy that would be covering my days off, I'd look to see if he had put tops on the maple syrup after he made it. And he was like, yeah. I didn't put the top completely on the container. I just kind of had the tops on there, but I left a little room for heat to escape. But there would still be condensation. There would still be condensation there. I was like, nah, we don't want to put tops on the containers of the maple syrup at all. You want it to age under refrigeration without the tops on it. And the first time I did that, the syrup was much thicker. It was a whole lot thicker. And you wouldn't think to even do something like that until you've tried it. And now our maple syrup is consistent. and it's thick. It's a lot thicker, even when it's heated up and you put it in the hot well or the warmer. That we have a container that keeps our syrup warm for our customers. It's a much better product. It's a much better product, and it's a lot thicker. Yeah. Yeah. Such a small secret, you know. But if you watch this video and you're like, I've never done that, you know. It's a nice little secret for you, and it works. And the maple syrup is a lot better at the original Pancake House in South Carolina, and we don't get any complaints, even though we do keep the syrup warm, or we warm it up. No servers are coming to me saying that the syrup is too loose. No customers are complaining, and the syrup is better. So if you work at the original Pancake House and you prep the maple syrup, or you're a manager and you know that whoever's doing the prep at the original Pancake House is covering their containers, covering the syrup up hot and storing it at room temp, or even putting it in the refrigerator with the tops on it, you can address that and have a much better product. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What's next? The strawberry syrup. Now, again, I've never changed any recipes. I've always followed the recipes. And with the strawberry syrup, which is our second most popular syrup at the original Pancake House in South Carolina, there's a little hidden secret. Yeah, there's a little hidden secret. No syrup needs to come to a boil, with the exception of our sugar-free syrup, which we do boil. But any syrup in the grill manual at the original Pancake House, any syrup that we make by the book, does not come to the boil. Does not come to a boil. We make our own sugar-free syrup in-house, and we have our own secret recipe. But that syrup we do boil. But any other syrup, it tells you don't want the syrup to come to a boil, because that's a mistake when the syrup comes to a boil, and it can make a mess that you don't want to clean up. I can promise you, and it's happened to me before, where the steam kettle wasn't calibrated correctly, and I had the temp set correctly, and it was too hot, and it boils. And when it boils, it goes everywhere. And when it goes everywhere, it takes hours to clean that up, even with help. Even when you think you got it clean, it's not. It could take hours, maybe even days. Sometimes come in and you forget, you missed a spot. That's a mess you do not want to clean up. So no syrup should come to a boil. But the hidden secret was, when I'm making the strawberry syrup, is I realized over the years of making the strawberry syrup, that even though I never let my syrups come to a boil, if the syrups get too hot, that can also be a mistake. You don't want it to get too hot to the point where, I'm making a strawberry syrup and it's so hot that the syrup is steaming when you take it out of the steam kettle. The goal is to just dissolve the sugar, So when I'm making my strawberry syrup, and I'll turn the kettle on when I'm cooking it, immediately, if the kettle's warm enough, because strawberries are so acidic, I've learned over time, because strawberries are so acidic, you don't need much heat to dissolve that sugar. And the less heat, the better, when you're making the strawberry syrup at the original Pancake House, because you get a more consistent product. If it's too hot, it's going to come out looking like a syrup, which is fine. But a lot of times when the servers are handling it, depending on what syrup you're making, if you're making strawberry or you're making apple, they might not even be able to tell the difference, because they both syrups are technically the same color. We've had incidents with that, where, a new server or even a regular server just wasn't paying attention and may have mixed apple syrup with strawberry syrup. Whereas now, there's a significant difference, because you're not overheating the strawberry syrup. You don't want to overheat the strawberry syrup. You just want just enough heat to dissolve the sugar. And once the sugar is dissolved, you want to take it out of the kettle immediately. You don't want it hanging around in there. Because by letting it sit in there, it just degrades the quality of the product, of the strawberry syrup. So for me, you know, I have a nickname for our strawberry syrup at the Pancake House. You know what I mean? It's more like a jam. Yeah. We don't serve strawberry syrup at the original Pancake House in South Carolina. You know, we serve strawberry jam. That's what I call it. That's the nickname that I gave it because of how wonderful the strawberry syrup looks at the original Pancake House in South Carolina. And it's because I took the extra step in not overcooking the strawberry syrup at the original Pancake House. You know, even though you don't bring it to a boil, you think you've done the recipe correctly, but you can overcook it without boiling it, and that's a mistake when you're making the strawberry syrup. Strawberry syrup at the original Pancake House in South Carolina is one of our most popular syrups, and it's because I've taken the extra step, and now I'm sharing my secrets with you. A lot of times, once I get the kettle warm enough and I have the strawberry syrup in there and all the ingredients in, I'll just turn the kettle off, you know, and just let the natural heat dissolve the sugar. And even if I take the strawberry syrup out and there still might be a little bit of sugar in there that didn't get dissolved because strawberries are so acidic, it's gonna dissolve. It's gonna dissolve on its own. And when it cools down and the servers bring it out the next day and they go to pour it up, it looks amazing. So give it a shot. Give it a shot if you haven't tried it. You know, you may have been thinking all along that you were doing the strawberry syrup correctly. But there was something missing, you know. And now, or maybe you did it one time by mistake and just didn't realize it, and someone came to you and be like, "Oh, this strawberry syrup it looks really, really good this week," you know. And you're like, "Well, I didn't do anything differently, but maybe you did and didn't realize it," you know. So anytime I'm making a strawberry syrup at the original Pancake House, that's the first thing I think about before I even start. I'm like, I don't want to overcook the syrup, you know, because even though we could serve it, if I cook it too much, I know that the quality is not the same. So if you watch this video and you work at the original Pancake House and you're a manager or you're a prep cook, give it a shot. If you're a manager, you can pass the information along to whoever's doing the prep at the original Pancake House that you work at. Or if you're a prep cook, try it out and then see. Don't say anything. Try it out. And then let someone come to you and tell you. Don't say anything to them. Let someone come to you like they came to me one day and told me how great our strawberry syrup really is. And they thought it was #1 when I asked them, what's the best syrup at the original Pancake House? What's the top seller? Everyone yelled strawberry. But it's really maple. And now we have pure maple syrup at the original Pancake House. So if you come in and you want pure maple syrup on your pancakes, that's an option now at the original Pancake House. Yeah. And for $2.95, you can buy this bottle and enjoy 100% pure maple syrup on top of your pancakes. Yeah. Well, if you watched this video and you made it this far, I thank you for watching. I hope that the information I shared will help make you a better prep cook, or give you some ideas that you weren't aware of, or make you a better manager by passing along some great information to whoever may be doing the prep at your location. And I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.